Hello and welcome back to Where the Demon Lurks. If you recall, the previous episode was where we were introduced to 3 other cast members. Well, yeah, they can be called cast members. One was Toast, who was a ghost hyena. The other was Morris, who was an exorcist and a boar. And I think it's a golden retriever, who's also an angel named Lucian. So yeah, basically they kind of ruined the day for poor old Kobu, who already has a lot to deal with being immortal now. But I wonder what wacky shenanigans they're going to get into in this new update. So without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 2, Freelancer. In the Demon Lord's office, Vendrake sits behind his desk while swirling his coffee mug, which reads Number 1 Boss. Another successful day at work complete, having just approved another upgrade to the security forces around the Underworld. He swivels his chair around to observe the 2 golden statues that have been recently erected in his honor. Ever since taking on the mantle of Demon Lord, the pot-bellied demon has made a ritual of taking some time to admire his gifts to himself for a job well done. The statue to Vendrake's left is of himself standing proudly, keeping vigil as the eternal protector Vendrake sees within himself. To his right, a statue of Kobu's father. Vendrake puffs out his chest while looking upon his former master's effigy. My lord. The demon walks over to the statue. His smile falters as he studies the late Demon Lord's face, a sense that something was not quite right. Is that a smudge up there? Begrudgingly, Vendrake returns to his seat. It creaks loudly under the weight of his ample behind. A magical circle appears above his left hand, and he brings it close to his ear. Nox, get in here! You called, Lord Vendrake? Vendrake gestures to the top of the statue. Deal with that unsightly spot. I wouldn't have a speck out of place in my office, and have whichever custodian is in charge of cleaning my office be sent for re-education. I'm sorry, my lord, but you sent the custodian there just last week. Right now, there are only a handful of them left in the city now that most demons have been relocated to serve in the torture zones. Oh, right. First get that demon back in here to clean that smudge, then send him back for re-education. As you command, Lord Vendrake. Will that be all? Of course not. Do you have the report ready from the Freelancers? The frog drifts backwards a touch, anticipating that Vendrake might throw something at him. I'm afraid I haven't been able to go through the latest reports. Vendrake shakes his head in umbrage. Not good enough, Nox. I expect better from my number 2. Yes, my lord. It's just that there are many complaint forms to go through every day, and I am but one demon. Smoke flares out of Vendrake's nostrils. His eyes remain ever fixed at his second-in-command. How many times have I told you to just burn those? These lackeys have become too soft under Kobu's rule. Now, even the meager notion of work causes them to bemoan and bother. Well, they will learn how to become proper demons once more, and they will do so the hard way. Burn those complaints once we are done here. You understand? Yes, my lord. Nox conjures a small portal beside him, and an equally small cream-colored folder pokes out of it for him to grab. Then I will proceed with the Freelancer's report. Out of the Freelancers we contracted since Kobu left, each and every one has filed a report in turn. Vendrake bites onto his cigar impatiently. Those Freelancers better not be slacking off just because they are on Earth. It's been months since they've been sent up there. If I hear another failed report... The interior of Vendrake's pot-belly mouth glows red, as though ready to spew fire upon the frog at a moment's notice. Nox carefully floats further back to be sure that he is out of range. The demon flips through the file to find something, anything to pacify the growing flames building in the pit of Vendrake's stomach, smoldering into a brighter hue by the second. Ugh, just hand it to me, I'll find it. Nox nods, chucking the file at Vendrake, It shoots through the air like a flying star. Vendrake catches it between his fingertips right before it hits his eye. Really? You couldn't just levitate it to me? I thought this was faster. How exactly am I supposed to read this? It's so small. Just expand the file using your fingers. Nox mimics a pinching and expanding motion with his fingertips. Like this? Vendrake enlarges the file far too much. The document expands, hitting Nox's floating hand. Caught off guard, Nox loses control of his platform. The hand whirls and reflexively launches the frog into the air. The frog twists into a somersault, but somehow manages to fall back right onto the hand. Shaken, Nox hugs the fingers for support. He holds his head as he waits for the dizziness to subside. Vendrake continues to pinch midair, the file lengthening and shrinking in turn as Nox is poked in the face repeatedly. I do not get this contraption at all. Never mind. Let me do it. Nox pinches the overly long file and it shrinks down to a far more manageable size. With his amusement settled, Vendrake flips through the documents, searching for a particular section. He sits upright now, ears perked up as he leans in closer towards the desk. The flames in his stomach die down for a bit. Lord Vendrake? Take a look. He passes the file back to Nox. Nox's eyes quickly scan through the document when a cold chill grips his heart, a sensation so alien to him that he just sits, stunned at the details of the report. He would ask what this feeling means, but Vendrake has banned him from asking questions unrelated to work. Reluctantly, he forces his emotions aside. They found someone matching his picture in one of the red zones. They are waiting for orders to attack. Vendrake's expression twists into a wrathful grimace. I knew that's where he would think of hiding, and you were against it when I suggested we send someone there. It's just, no demons are supposed to go to such places. We could not risk one of our employees' lives. This one in particular keeps narrowly escaping each red zone they were assigned to. And it will be glad to give its life in service to the Demon Lord. That is the duty of every demon, and they should want for naught else. If it wasn't for the 100-odd risk assessment documents just to get one freelancer out there, I would have sent more to the red zones, so you know. All the paperwork I had to do. What did you say? Nothing, Lord Vendrake. Order the freelancer to finish the job. I expect Kobu's head to be on my desk in 24 hours. As you wish, Lord Vendrake. Nox turns towards the grand door and makes his leave. Vendrake leans back against his seat and kicks his feet up onto the table. A soft smile spreads across his stomach. Just a little longer and everything will be set right. Just a little longer and he will have fulfilled his purpose. If this goes as planned, I wonder how I should celebrate my success. I could always use another self-portrait. Or perhaps... Nox floats through the demon city. He abstained from using a portal so that he could have some time to himself. The city smells unfamiliar to the demon. Gone are the greasy smells of the food vendors or the warm, spicy scent of the different demons walking side by side. Now, nothing lingers in the air. As he floats along the empty streets, he notices a six-legged demon walking through, sucking up the dust that has accumulated. The demon wheezes before leaning against a nearby wall. Clouds of dust escape their lips as they try to catch it in their hands. They gag at the sight of the dust, but reluctantly attempt to suck it up into their already engorged belly. Who knows how long it will take to clean up the whole city. He carries on while observing the empty shops as he passes by, most either empty within or boarded up. Nox's mind wanders to the memories of how this city used to be bustling with demonic life. Before that, it used to be just a lush plain of endless meadows, a utopia of sorts that beckoned for inhabitants to populate it. Only the Demon Lord and their generals resided here then. That is, before they decided to open it up to all other demons. And then, development began as the many creatures of the dark created a place of respite for themselves, a change of pace from the unending maelstrom of anguish. Nox reminisced about how he would overlook the toil of the demons in the early days, recognizing the diverse architecture of the buildings that came from the mortal realm. It was amusing to him and still continues to be food for thought for the amphibian. What significance is there in the architecture aesthetics of mortals? Do the demons perhaps envy the living for their mortality? Do they simply wish to mimic their ways to find an answer? Maybe they just did all of this for fun. As a general, he takes his role of caring for the demon underlings very seriously, but it is becoming harder to juggle all his roles. Vendrake has forced most businesses to close, especially if he deemed them unnecessary to the process of gathering soul energy. "We are trimming the fat for progress," was what Vendrake said. Ironically, the old demon grew fatter while he tried to aggressively reduce redundancies within the company. Nox grows tired of the silence and reopens the report from the Freelancer while floating on ahead. His eyes trace the letters on the page, deliberating if there are further meanings than what was written. A pang emanates from his stomach. It must be lunchtime. I wonder if that diner is open. The diner, a personal favorite location for the frog. It's the only place that serves the triple cheese bugs and flies sandwich that he likes. He recalls Kobu's face when he offered the ex-demon lord half of his sandwich one time. Kobu struggled to hold back the contents of his stomach as he forced the sandwich down. Nox never understood why he did what he did back then. Huh? When he arrives at the diner, the owner, a short blue imp, is hanging up a sign. Closed until further notice. The crestfallen imp rests his hand against the door before Nox decides to break the silence. You're closed. Oh, General Nox, I didn't notice that you were there. The demon jumps and whirls back, flashing a smile at his superior. Were you summoned? Yeah. I just got my papers today. My business has been marked as redundant. I tried getting a contract to keep my shop going, you know. I told them that I could feed the working demons, but it got rejected. The reason was they already commissioned enough shops for that job. They picked Vendrake's 2 favorite eateries. Figures. It sucks ass, but don't tell him I said that. I won't. What's going to happen to the sandwiches then? I'm sorry, General Nox. I don't know what to tell you. Unless they loosen up on this never-ending crunch, there will be no sandwiches from me. But, here. The demon hands a piece of paper to the frog, the size of it small enough to fit in Nox's hands perfectly. He wonders the possible lengths the imp went to write it down. I meant to give it to you when I saw you. It's a recipe for your favorite sandwich. Maybe you can make it when you have time? It's my thanks for helping me start up my business in the first place. Think nothing of it. I was just doing my duty. To look out for all demons. Nox glances at the paper in his webbed hand. He doesn't bother with opening it. Somehow, the premise of making his own sandwich is not what's bothering him. Thank you for this, but it just won't be the same. The demon just nods slowly. I'd advise against looking for another place to eat around here. They're all probably busy trying to meet the demands of the workforce on the torture floors. He walks towards the elevator hub. After a few steps, he stops and glances back. He looks on with misty eyes before finally turning forward and walking off into the distance. Nox croaks loudly as he stuffs the paper inside his file. His hunger is now overtaken by something else. Sour thoughts surface into the forefront of his mind. Relocation of staff in different sectors, a hollow metropolis, the Freelancer's report and his master's orders. No. He slaps himself for even once doubting his duties to the Demon Lord. His feelings have no place in this company. He must fulfill his purpose and obey. That is what a good tool does. He opens a portal back to his office, leaving behind the ghost town and his memories of a better time. Outside of Sunny Fruits, a hunched-over figure watches the entrance from within a shadowy alley. The sun has begun to set, and still the store remains closed. Time is running out. This body has days, maybe even a week left, before it expires. The mere sight of the figure could send anyone running. Much like the demon's life in the Underworld, it has pushed this mortal's body to its limits. So many sleepless nights and near-death misses had led it to this moment. It scratches the side of its neck and is obsessed by the sensation of singed fur against its fingertips. The demon can never get accustomed to the feeling of fur upon its body. It begins scratching feverishly all over now, racking against the flesh under the fur. Come on, come on. How long does it take to open a blasted shop? It lies in wait for Kobu to show up, with its weapon tucked within its pocket. The Freelancer is itchy to let it loose and return to the Underworld. It dare not disobey Vendrake. As much as the creature detests its new employer, there are worse fates than being worked down to the bone. Just then, he sees his target approaching from the other end of the road. Kobu and that unimportant alpaca are talking to each other as they open up the store. The time has come. The Freelancer clutches the weapon within his pocket and readies itself to stalk closer. He steps forward and accidentally slips on a stray rubber ducky. Ow, my back. After setting down your bags in the back room, the two of you get to work preparing for the nighttime shift. The store lights flicker awake, and the room turns cold as the AC is activated. You walk along the aisles and are relieved that the shelves are all restocked and neatly arranged. Less work for you. You notice the broom and a mop left next to the employee back room, ready for an additional cleaning. The broken camera has been replaced, but it lies asleep, unactivated. As you return to the front counter, King approaches with his hands behind his back. Hey, they restocked the shelves completely for us. That's fantastic. Let's have a chat first before... Oh! The alpaca waves to someone behind you. You glance over your shoulder to see a young woman looking to see if the store is open. She gives a thumbs up back to King and walks away. What's up? The AC ducts, of course. You roll your eyes at him. Okay, I wanted to take some time to talk about the training manual. Right. The manager training manual. Ta-da! He shows off a blue book with a bright yellow thumb-up sticker on the cover. King Edition, of course. The headquarters standard manual doesn't really apply to a small store like us. Headquarters is okay with this? Honey, they don't really care as long as we keep the cash flowing and we don't mess up the brand image. I can live with that. Also, a knock at the door pulls your attention towards it. There's a guy in a business suit peering through the glass door. He signals to ask if the store is open. King waves him away and the guy walks off. Right, where were we? Yeah, so as part of your training, you'll be taking on some new responsibilities. There's arranging the shifts with everyone, making sure that there's enough stock in the store, making sure the day's earnings are backed into the company account each day, and training any new employees. You gulp. That sounds like a lot. Kind of, but you got the rest of us to help you out. In fact, Mike's been helping with the money bag when I'm not on the morning shift. One more thing, and this is from HQ. You won't be receiving any extra income while you're undergoing training, but you're responsible for any mishaps or troubles with the store's regular business. The muscles in the back of your neck are tightening already. Really? Can I just order the other staff to do these for me? Nope. He boops you on the nose, his usual tactic of showing disapproval at you. Now, sweetie, just read this and you'll be fine. I made it short and sweet, like a game guide. You take the book from the alpaca's hands. Despite being light as a feather, it weighs heavily within your hands. King pats you on the shoulder and smiles. Any questions before I leave you to open the shop? Can I still say no to this? Can you say no to my cooking? No. Then, you've got my answer. King chuckles and heads for the back room. You hold the bright blue book close to your face and sigh in defeat. Your muddled feelings leave you scratching your head. There's so much on the line, yet what scares you the most is letting King down. As you set the book down on the counter, you sense something looking at you. Turning towards the door again, a hunched man glares at you intensely from a short distance. He then closes the gap, slowly walking towards the store. Your fur stands on end at the sight of his ghastly face. You think the guy is a fox. Or a fox that was run over, to be more exact. Sorry, we're not open yet. At least, not until you're gone. Although you gesture to exaggerate your message, he continues to stand there. What's with this guy? His hand reaches out for the door before walking in. Hey, I said we're not. With his other hand, the figure holds out a demon eye the size of a grapefruit, its irises fixed upon you. You freeze. Your brain instantly makes the connection. This time, it's a real hunter, a freelancer. He holds the eye out and the pupil sharpens. It's getting ready to fire. Hey, come on. We can talk this out. The freelancer stares unflinching, approaching as he squeezes the eyeball tighter. There is nothing to talk about. You inch closer and closer towards him, your gaze never once leaving the eyeball's pupil. Come on, there has to be tons to talk about. How are things in the Underworld? He sees what you're trying to do and squeezes the eyeball harder. You hear a humming sound as the eyeball starts to glow at the center of the pupil. It's still too far to snatch. You would have saved us a lot of trouble if you had just died that night. Maybe that's a sign that I should keep on living? Why break the winning streak, I say? Your eyes remain fixed on the weapon, a sharp light coalescing at the pupil, a high-pitched sound beginning to ring out. Just a little more. Look, you don't need to go through all this trouble. What if I give you some hair? Maybe that would be enough to say I'm dead? Then we can all be on our merry way. You have no idea the agony that I went through to get here, and now, it ends. You lunge for the freelancer's arm. Grabbing hold, you shove it upwards, throwing his aim off kilter as the beam shoots into the ceiling. You dig your claws deeper into the freelancer's wrist, trying to force him to drop the weapon, but the demon does not relent. He bellows in pain and throws a punch at your face, but you catch the hand just in time. Locked hand in hand, neither of you can make a decent move. Both of you struggle to overcome one another, one fighting to complete his mission, and the other to survive. Kobu? What's that noise? Don't come in! Your eyes widen in fear. You can't let King get involved. He swings his leg backwards, landing a powerful blow against your stomach. You gasp as the wind is knocked out of you, but your grip does not loosen. Gah! You retaliate by kneeing the enemy repeatedly in the groin. They yell out loud and recklessly fire another beam that cuts across the floor. The both of you finally break free. You're forced to stumble backwards, arms flailing as you try to regain your balance. The freelancer twists his knees as he covers his family jewels. He raises the eyeball again as he looks up, but you already made your move. Dashing towards him, you cover the extra distance with the broom you've managed to snatch, then smack the eyeball from his hands. Four! It flies in the air, then bounces among the wares on the shelves. You bring down the broom again on your foe's face, then make a run for the weapon. You hear a loud hissing followed by a thud, but choose not to look back. Ahead of you is the eyeball, nestled comfortably in between a row of chips. I need to destroy it, but how? Your thoughts are interrupted by the sound of loud footsteps above you. Turning your head up, your jaw drops. The freelancer on all fours is crawling like a spider, rushing to its prey, their eyes more bloodshot than before. Your breathing is erratic and every fiber in your body tenses. It's a race to the eyeball. But the freelancer leaps ahead and snags the weapon before you do. You nearly slip but manage to turn and start your retreat towards the counter. I'm not gonna make it! The sharp hum of the weapon fills your eardrums once more. This is it. This is the end. You close your eyes and hold your breath, your mind desperately hoping the beam will miss, when suddenly you feel a powerful force push you away just as you step out of the aisle. As you fall to the side, you see King's wide-eyed expression. Then the beam hits him in the side of his chest. King! You slide over to grab his fallen body and cradle him in your arms. King, say something! King squirms in your arms, panicking. The sound of the weapon rises in pitch again. You hold King close to yourself, shielding him from the approaching foe. His footsteps seem to echo loudly as he gets closer and closer to you. Clenching your eyes tightly, you scream in fear. Die! He squeezes the eyeball again, but nothing happens. Instead, the light coalesced around the pupil dissipates, and a buzzing sound goes off, as an error message flashes. Warning, error code 69. The eye has been fired on a living mortal. Ejecting demon now. What? No, he's right there. I can't. Ejecting. Bright blue sparks fly out of the eye, shocking the Freelancer's entire body. It screams and shudders in pain. The host's body collapses on the ground. However, a red outline of a demon is left standing on top of it. The eye then turns to it and blasts it again with electricity before sending the demon falling beneath the earth. No! Drained of its power, the eyeball falls and rolls over to you, but you don't notice. You open your eyes and see King flailing his arms about. Kobu, I can't see. What's happening? It's all black. King, I'm here. Everything's going to be okay. I'm taking you to the hospital. I can't. Kobu, I can't feel my legs. Looking over, you see King's legs slowly disintegrate into nothingness. No, King! That blast must have done something. We need to get help. The hospital. We've got to get there. You try to stand up, but your legs buckle under the immense pressure of fear overwhelming you. The weight of your feelings seemingly pull you back down to the ground. Kobu. King's soft voice calls out to you, but your mind is fixed on getting to the door. No, I can make it. Damn it, move you stupid legs. Kobu. Your friend's loud cry forces you to look at him. You are on the verge of tears, while he just looks at you with a weak smile. It's okay. No, it's not. None of this should have happened. It's all my fault. The disintegration envelops his chest and accelerates further. No, don't say that. I'm glad you're safe. And between ragged breaths, your voice breaks as you repeat his name. King. Make sure that you eat your meals right, okay? Please tell my parents I love them too. No, King, please, stay with me. It can't end like this. Kobu. The disintegration has reached his chest and accelerates further. I'll save you. Just hang on. King! His voice fades away with the rest of his body. King is no more. Mere minutes after the Freelancer was defeated, Vendrake sits in front of his desk, going through yet another demon's written request for days off. He shakes his head. These demons just don't know the meaning of making sacrifices for their company. Tisk, tisk. The sudden sound of someone screaming grabs Vendrake's attention. He looks upwards to see a single red thread phasing through the ceiling. It gathers in the air, forming an outline, then a body with depth. Piece by piece, the demon's limbs reappear within the space of the outline and land on the floor with a sloppy thud. Ah! What in the world? Vendrake stands up from his seat and walks over to the demon. He looms menacingly over the smaller creature. The Freelancer picks itself up. It comes eye to eye to Vendrake's angry-looking stomach, causing the demon to shriek and jump back. Lord Vendrake, my apologies. I was about to assassinate Kobu when the weapon forced me back here. What? Did you kill him or not? Why didn't you just finish him off with your bare hands? I nearly did, but the eye stopped me before I hit a mortal. A light crimson color boils up from Vendrake's neck all the way to his face. Enraged, Vendrake's belly flares up. Ah! The stomach mouth fires a stream of fire that narrowly misses the demon's head and blasts off the office door. Get in here, you three! 3 portals open and the generals step forth, forming an arc around the raging Vendrake. Amare enters with arms crossed. To his side is Fortis, who stands at attention. Nox is the only one across from them, a blank expression plastered on his face. Amare! He points at the cat accusingly. The cat demon simply tosses his nose in the air, barely making eye contact with his superior. What? Care to explain why the weapon you made for the Freelancer sent him back here before he could finish the deed? Amare rolls his eyes. Obviously because he triggered the failsafe mechanism. I got the alert just now. That dingbat shot a mortal. Look, he's in here. One of the cat demon's floating hands conjures up a vinyl disc with King's face in the middle. It even has a title written on it, King of the Store. Vendrake crosses his arms in a huff. I don't recall instructing you to put such a function in the weapon. I wonder if you had intentionally tinkered with the weapon to fail on purpose. Vendrake's belly glows red again, ready to spit fire at the cat. Amare scoffs. I would never intentionally make a tool that never works. Just because you didn't have the foresight to see your goons messing up doesn't mean I would allow it. Last I checked, it was against the rules to end mortal lives. Vendrake's eyes narrow and the mouth of his belly closes. Fortis relaxes his shoulders while Nox continues to watch the scene play out. Though silent in the frog's head, dozens of questions are left unspoken. What is the meaning of the words upon the vinyl disc? Why did Amare pick a vinyl to put a living being inside to begin with? If I put the vinyl under my finger, would music come out of my mouth? Vendrake turns its attention back to the trembling Freelancer. So, Freelancer, it's on you now. I'll let you skip the paperwork and explain directly how it is that you failed. And if I am not satisfied, you will face the greatest torture a demon could suffer within the Underworld. A disciplinary hearing in the next 100 days with Ellen from HR! No, not Ellen! No more opportunities to advance in the company, reduced day off applications, no more free coffee privileges! You already cut off the coffee privileges a month back. And worst of all, no more healthcare subsidies! No, not that! Anything but that! Please, I swear, I would have done my job right if the alpaca didn't push Kobu out of the way. Please, please don't take my healthcare plan. I can't afford the Fang checkup cost on my own. He pushed Kobu out of the way? Interesting. Very well. I will overlook this mistake, Freelancer. Know that your ruler is a sympathetic one. Now back to the torture floor with you. Vendrake mercifully summons a portal behind the demon. The lowly creature pathetically cries and bows while stepping backwards into the portal. Everyone's eyes are upon Vendrake, wondering, what is he planning? The demon returns to his seat and points to Amare. So that mortal is within the disc? Yes, body and soul. Free him. I'd like a word with Kobu's savior. You can't do that! He'll see us! He'll see all of this! Living mortals aren't supposed to be here! Silence, Fortis! I wasn't speaking to you. If you have time to run your mouth, you would do better to train your brothers to guard the gates more effectively. Fortis closes his mouth and looks to the floor. He clenches his fists and bites his lip, as if holding back a needless argument that he'll lose. Amare, I just want to talk to the little mortal. Help the mortal process what he saw. Now do as I say! But I don't have another way to put him back in the disc after I take him out. If I blast him again, maybe he'll be forever stuck on the next disc. No buts, or it'll be your butt going for re-education. The rest of you better keep your mouths shut while I do my job. He waves his finger at all three generals like a school teacher telling their students off. Do it. Amare puts on a pair of gloves and sets the vinyl disc down in midair. He brings a finger close to its surface, just barely touching it. The disc now starts to spin slowly, vibrating, playing a gentle tune out of Amare's gloves. Then, with a few quick turns of the disc, the tune changes as thin green notes spin out of the grooves. The melodic notes gather before the group, spinning rapidly, the manic tune preceding a blinding green hue out of which King appears. What? King grabs the side of his pants and looks dumbfounded at his surroundings. The alpaca's knees are trembling at the sight of four vicious-looking characters staring at him. Their unusual eyes and appearances lead him to one conclusion. Oh god, I'm in hell! He grips his pompadour while he breathes rapidly. Oh my god, oh my god! Welcome to the Underworld, mortal. This may seem alarming to you, but be assured that you are very much still alive. I am? Oh no, I've been sent here early because I took that extra free sample at the store the other day. I swear I didn't know that was such a sin. No, mortal. that is not why you are here. Let's start with something simple. What is your name? I'm King Domeric. Nice to meet you, King. I am Vendrake, the Demon Lord, and these are my generals who help me govern this realm. Do you remember anything about what happened before you arrived here? And the last thing I remember was the store. I got shot. Yes, that unfortunately was a mistake from one of our freelancers. He was after an escaped fugitive, you see. A fugitive? Yes, a demon who may bring harm to the balance of our world the longer he stays on Earth. Who are you talking about? You know who. Kobu. King's eyes widen. No way! I know Kobu. He's my friend. He's not a demon. That's what he wants you to think. He's only using you to hide his tracks. Why else would he keep this a secret from you? How long have you known him? Can you really trust someone you spent so little time with? I've known him for over a year. A year? I forget how quickly your kind expires. To him, a year is no different from a month. Don't you think something is off? Why would you end up here talking to us, beings of immeasurable power? Surely you are not that in denial of the truth. And if he has convinced you otherwise, I wonder what other lies he spun. King stands in silence, his hands falling to his side. Face it, your friend is a wanted demon. Both Amare and Fortis shift in their positions. Nox remains unwavered and unblinking. He will say and do anything to avoid facing justice. But you can change that. You can help us, and in doing so, I can promise your standing during your time of judgment would be more favorable. King's voice is low and soft now. What are you asking me to do? I can send you back, King, like nothing ever happened. I just ask that you help me finish the job. We'll give you the tools you need. It won't leave any mess. With a snap of his finger, Vendrake conjures up a large eye, just like the one that shot King. The eye floats towards King and hovers just within his reach. King reluctantly grabs the eye and stares at it. Vendrake's face breaks into a smile, until the alpaca throws the eye right back at him. Fortis gasps while one of Amare's floating arms gives a thumbs up to King. The eye slides off Vendrake's face. He slams his hands on the desk and abruptly gets up. Insolent mortal! You dare strike the Demon Lord! He reaches into his stomach and pulls out the golden scepter. With a wave of the rod, the desk flies into the air and crashes right at the office entrance, blocking any hope of escape. Vendrake stomps forward and aims a scepter at the alpaca. Despite the hostile display of strength, King stands unflinching against the larger demon. I'll do it again in a heartbeat. You say what you want about Kobu, but he would never lie to me about our friendship. If he really left, I'm sure it was to get away from you, you two-faced creep. Vendrake raises his scepter. Then you are of no use to me. Vendrake. Stop! No! King throws his arms up in the air to protect himself and closes his eyes as Vendrake brings down his scepter and hits the alpaca in the head. Nothing happens. What? Why isn't it working? Reveal your secrets! He smacks King in the head 2 more times. All it does is make the pompadour bounce about. Quit it! King smacks the scepter away. Vendrake turns to Nox. Why isn't the spell working? I should be able to see his life history. He is not dead yet. That can be arranged. Vendrake menacingly steps closer to King, who in turn retreats slowly, never taking his eyes off the demon. This is enough, Lord Vendrake. Vendrake stops. Delivering death is beyond our jurisdictions. Vendrake growls at King. You will regret crossing me, mortal. Fortis! The large demon dog stands upright. Seize him! Fortis raises his arms and points at King. He steadies his breath before 2 small dog markings slither across his arm. Like bloodhounds after their prey, they fly out and wrap themselves around King. King recoils to the touch of the black appendages. They grip him firmly, making him lose his balance and fall to the floor. You won't get away with any of this. I have rights. Kobu will find a way to save me. Silence him. The shadowy bindings extend up to King's mouth and subsequently gags him. Do you want me to send him back to Earth? Yes, but not now. Our laws state that he has to go back, but nothing is written about when that happens. What are you planning, Vendrake? Vendrake points at King once more. So you really believe that he will come and save you? Well, dear boy, let's see him try, if he lives long enough to even do so. Vendrake walks back to his seat and summons the desk to its original place. Lock the mortal up somewhere, Fortis. See that he is taken care of until Kobu is dealt with. Where exactly do you think I'm supposed to put him? We didn't build dungeons for keeping living mortals. Just stuff him in the pantry for all I care. Figure it out. Fortis scowls but remains silent. He walks over to King's squirming form and throws the alpaca body over his shoulder. Fortis opens a portal. Wait! Huh? What's wrong? We don't know how a living mortal's body will react to the magic of our portals, even more so after I just turned him back from a disc. Besides, if he's staying, I'd like to run some experiments on him, if I get the chance, so I definitely need him to remain intact. Let's take a rain check on that, Amari, but sure, the long way it is then. Fortis walks out of the office with King hanging from his shoulder. So, are we done here? For now. Amari and Nox both open their portals and leave. Left alone, Vendrake sits in quiet contemplation. That mortal's unwavering glare remains stuck in the demon's mind. You stare at your empty hands where your friend laid a second ago. It feels almost unreal how everything unfolded so quickly. You scream and beat the ground until your hands are red sore. King! You can only think about how you failed once again, and this time someone else was caught in the crossfire. Your breathing is shaky. With the amount of air that you were quickly pulling into your lungs, you would have thought they failed you. Your vision is blurry, thankfully not from the lack of air, but from the tears that have been welling up. Your mind freezes, trying to process an impossible challenge, until you hear it, a weak groan. Turning your head slowly, you see that it's coming from the person who shot King. A miracle. Your breathing is under control now. Your mind begins to focus. You feel the urge to wrap your hands around the bastard's throat, but you don't. You need answers. You seize him by the collar of his shirt and pull his face close to yours. You! Why did you do this? Why did you get King involved? What sick promise did Vendrake make? The person blinks and then opens his mouth without saying a word. His gawking is getting to you until he starts to sniffle and cry. I don't know what you're talking about. Where am I even? You killed my friend. Why did you make a contract to be a freelancer? Kill? I don't know anything about that. I just did it as a goof. I just wanted to prove to my friends that ritual was fake. You rise to your feet and drag the pathetic person out the door before throwing him onto the street. If I ever see you in this town ever again, I'll send you to the Underworld myself. The person screams as he crashes into the pavement before running away. You stumble back into the store. Your legs begin to buckle as you're forced to grab onto the counter to hold yourself up. Thoughts and emotions return like an unwanted guest, knocking eagerly at the door for you to open it in your mind's eye. You clutch your left side of your chest. Huh? Your ears pick up the sound of something vibrating. Scanning the room, your eyes fall upon the weapon left on the floor. You walk over and pick up the cursed eye. The device starts to shake from the force of your grip. You want to throw it hard against the wall and be rid of it, until you realize that something is displaying across the eye. A blue text reads, "Unknown non-demon entity sent to Amare Labs for investigation." You blink several times and reread the sentence. Sent? It sent King to the Underworld? He's not dead? The news revitalizes your spirit. Without a shred of doubt, you decide you need to get to the Underworld and bring King back. But how do I go back down there? That brief spark of hope is at a risk of blowing out. Even if I get there, I doubt Vendrake would let me just leave that easily again. I need help. But who? The angel Lucian. He was sent by God. He could be a powerful ally. But what about Morris? He's been in this town for a while. His tricks and knowledge of magic could come in handy. Maybe he knows a way to save King. Then again, the two of them would have their own agendas. Both want something out of you. Maybe it's better to call in a favor Toast owes you. I don't get to pick Toast. I want to do the hyena. So I can either pick Omar, or I can either pick Steve-O. I am, of course, referencing two people that you guys don't know. It seems like the most logical choice would be to pick Lucian. But it might be some trouble, because he's going to be like, well, since you're down here, how about we, instill you as the rightful, king of the underworld? And Morris might just want a lot of money. I'm gonna pick Morris. Oh, but I should pick Lucian because he's the actual angel. He's the one that has powers. But he might kill the generals. Morris, if I'm thinking it of like DC superheroes and people like that, he would be like Zatanna. So, he might come in handy. Let's pick Lucian. I'm certain that Lucian can help me. You rush to the back room to get your bag and head out the store. Only to remember that you can't do that and leave the store closed. What am I doing? You pull out your phone and call Mike, asking him and his sister to cover your shift due to an emergency with King. They agree to help without asking too many questions. You quickly clean up any possible mess there was of the scuffle. After the pair come over, you take your leave and head for the Lazarus warehouse. Night encroaches with every passing second. You walk as fast as you can to your destination, all the while your mind is pestered with thoughts of King being imprisoned or tortured in the underworld. Once you arrive at the gates of the workshop, you see the crowd of workers exiting the premise. The warehouse takes an orange hue from the rays of the setting sun. This building is wide enough to fit an entire football field, and King once told you that this is where many eateries, such as the shopping mall and Sunny Fruits, gets their produce. From the sea of blue-collar workers, you spot Lucian waiting at the other end of the gate, looking at his feet. You wait for the crowd to thin before approaching him. Lucian! The dog turns to you and smiles. Kobu, you came. Finally, I've been waiting for so long, people started throwing coins at my feet. Ready to return and settle in back at your old job? Right, about that. Listen, can we find somewhere more private first? He notices the serious look in your eyes and stands upright. Alright, come with me. He leads you around the compound's exterior to an alley filled with shipping trucks lined up back to back. After making sure no one is around, the angel leans against the back of one of the nearby vehicles. You uneasily focus on his feet rather than meeting his gaze. Why do I get the feeling that this isn't about going back to the underworld? There was an attack at the store. The angel raises an eyebrow. What? A freelancer came, and it shot King. A freelancer? Yes, those demons that make contracts with mortals so that they can use their bodies to roam the earth. One of them came, and now I think King's trapped in the underworld. How do you know this? You pull out the eye from your bag and hand it to Lucian. He gives it a spin and even a quick shake. The eye somehow looks bemused by the ordeal. Indeed, if this is to be believed, whatever it shot got sent back to some laboratory. He tosses the eye back to you and you store it snugly within your bag. That's why I need you to help me get to the underworld and save him. I don't know what's going to happen to him while he's down there. I don't see what there is to worry about. Don't all mortals end up there eventually? Not like this. Also, how dare you? We demons swore to minimize interference with mortal lives, and that especially means not killing them. There. If he isn't supposed to be in the Underworld, then Vendrake has to return him. He wouldn't, not without checking what King knows about me. If Vendrake finds out, he would never let him go. You clench your fists tightly. All this fuss over a single soul? Why does this mortal mean that much to you? Unless... You see the shadow of the angel moving closer. Looking up, the angel smirks. Unless... Do you have feelings for him? This isn't funny. You're right. It's an unnecessary mortal emotion. The whole idea of a demon in love with a mortal is a fairy tale. Lucian steps back and regains his regal composure. Can we focus? He's my friend. He's in danger. I have to save him. And you'll do anything to bring him back? Yes. Lucian tilts his head upwards. His stern gaze places a strong pressure upon your shoulders. No matter how hard you try, the feeling doesn't go away. He has you right where he wants you. Then I'll help you. If you return to the Underworld and take your place back as the Demon Lord. As he speaks those words, the cold look in his deep blue eyes gives you goosebumps. Then that means... An eternity back in the Underworld, stuck behind your lonely desk, staring at paperwork. When you had Vendrake's aid, you were messing up over and over again. If you were to face it alone, would you single-handedly bring the Underworld to its knees? Worst of all, could you live doing something that you feel no love for any longer? Your lips tremble at the thought of going back. Silently, you slip your hands behind you. Okay, I'll go back if you help me save King. Lucian's tail wags happily. Perfect! I can't wait to report back to Gary. He'll be so ecstatic. Maybe he might even consider me for Good Boy of the Year. You simply look at him without saying a word. He remains unaware that you have your fingers crossed behind your back. Where do we go from here? To your home. What? But King, you are in no shape to be doing anything else for now. No way! We don't have time! We need to! Lucian flicks a finger on your forehead, and you fall onto your back. King isn't going anywhere, and you know it. Now, let's go back to your place so you can rest. There's much to do before we can even reach the Underworld, and I need you in one piece to do so. You have nothing to say. Getting up feels like a monumental task now. Maybe he is right. Not that you would admit it to him. He extends a hand out to you to help you up. Fine, but you're sleeping on the sofa. I don't mind, as long as I can finally take a warm shower. You're way too relaxed about all of this. Au contraire, Kobu. The smell of grease and gas is starting to fuss with my clothes. It's so unbecoming of me. Really? Your clothes? Well, forgive me, but us angels have more sensitive noses than others. He bends close to sniff you and quickly pulls back. His face is pale as a sheet. You lift your right arm and smell yourself. What's his deal? Walking back to the warehouse entrance, you manage to hail a cab to take you both back home. To be continued. Aw, poor King. I wonder what would have happened if I went with Morris. I'm pretty sure he'd, wrangle you in to catch Toast. Nah. Toast is a good boy. He doesn't deserve that. But anyways, No. There's probably credits. Go back. So, yeah. Poor King. He got sent to the Underworld before his time. And, I'm pretty sure that if I had picked Morris for, at least, like, the little flavor intro of what's, of you picking your partner, that would have been much the same with Morris pretty much, demanding something out of Kobu before, helping him into the Underworld. At the very least, Morris wouldn't be forcing Kobu into, lordship of the demon realm. Or the Underworld, I guess. But yeah. So let's hope that picking Lucian was the right choice. I mean, he is an angel. He should be powerful enough. It's kind of funny. He's like, oh, yay. Hopefully they nominate me for Good Boy of the Year award because he's a dog. But anyways, so yeah. Write down in the comments what you think is gonna happen with Lucian. If he's the good partner, or if it should have been Morris, or maybe even Toast. Hmm? Hmm? Anyways, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Where the Demon Lurks yourself, you can find it over on itch. You can find direct links to itch, the itch page, on the official Where the Demon Lurks Twitter page, and also, I'm assuming, on the Patreon page. And if you subscribe to be their Patreon and support the project, you will get early access to builds of Where the Demon Lurks, and Omar Alvarado. I keep laughing because that's one of my friends' name, so yeah. Anyways, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys all in the next episode. Bye-bye.